What's going on, New York Knicks fans? You're watching Knicks Now by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Marshall Green. The New York Knicks were able to get by in Game 5 against the Miami Heat to live another day, which means Game 6 is on Friday in South Beach. The Knicks still face elimination. Series is 3-2, but you can't win the series until you win just one more game. Got to focus on Game 6 in the first quarter before you move on to Game 7. But before we move on to Game 6, let's kind of look back at Game 5 and what happened yesterday in that ball game. The Knicks were able to come out on top 112-103. And the Knicks really took, full control of this ball game in the second half, specifically on the boards. At halftime, the Knicks had just a +1 rebound advantage. They finished the game at +16. They also shot the piss out of the ball. 38% from downtown. Shots started to fall in the Garden. And it was despite the Heat shooting about 40% in the second half. The Heat were ice cold from three in the first half, finished 13 of 43, but they shot about 40% in that second half. A lot of open looks for the Miami Heat, which is somewhat concerning, but maybe Tom Thibodeau is kind of just betting on the odds and betting on that the Miami Heat will return to the mean and the average of what they shot from downtown in the regular season, which was 34%, which was 27th worst in the NBA. We'll see. Knicks definitely have to play better than they did in Game 5 if they do want to win in Game 6. Before we go any further, though, I want to bring Seeps onto the show. Seeps, what's going on, man?
What's up, Marsh? And, I think we can kind of talk about, the little things, the, rebounding and all that, but I think the biggest reason the Knicks won, Jalen Brunson. Keep it simple.
Yeah, I mean, he played great. 38 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Before we go any further, should have said this off the top of the show. Ian Begley of SNY is reporting that after Game 4 in Miami, there was a heated verbal exchange between coaches and players in the locker room for the New York Knicks. I wish I could have been a fly on the wall in the locker room and see what they were talking about. But I do think that kind of fueled them in Game 5, and it's really easy to play like you did in Game 5 when you have Jalen Brunson. If the Knicks go on to win this series, that will go down as one of the best Knicks playoff performances ever. 38 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, but the most special part of that performance was the guy played 48 minutes.
He played 48 minutes, and Marsh, I said it to you after the game yesterday, I don't expect him to come out a single second the rest of the way. I know that's just how Tom Thibodeau ticks. But I don't expect Jalen Brunson honestly to get any rest in Game 6, especially with Quickly probably still going to be missing.
Yeah, Tom Thibodeau said Quickly still is day-to-day. I am curious to see how Brunson, after playing 48 minutes, takes one day off and then is expected to probably play at a minimum 45 minutes again and probably will play 48 minutes again. But, man, season on the line, bet on number 11 because what he did on Wednesday was absolutely special. And I think we have to stop saying he's the best point guard in the East, and we have to start saying he's one of the best point guards in the NBA because what we saw yesterday was a special, special performance, and the fact he's doing this really on one leg is incredible. I need all Knicks fans to show him some love down in the comments section. Type his jersey number 11, down in the comments section. Seeps, your boy RJ showed up yesterday.
Yeah, my boy RJ. Speak about underdog. I've taken RJ's lower the past 2 games, and he has proved me wrong both times. RJ was great. I think they've really found success in him kind of attacking Jimmy Butler on a wing or whatever it may be, left or right wing, and he's kind of got that one dribble, get rip-through move to the basket or just a catch-and-shoot move. RJ, I thought his shot looked great yesterday. He was aggressive, too. 26 points. I think probably out of his last 7 playoff games, 6 of them he's been really good.
Yeah, this series, RJ Barrett is shooting 41% from downtown. And if you bring it all the way back to Game 3 against the Cleveland Cavaliers, he's shooting 38% from downtown. And that's definitely opened up this Knicks offense. When you have a wing that can knock down shots as well as get to the cup like RJ Barrett does, it's a much tougher offense to stop, and it takes the pressure off of a guy like Jalen Brunson because he can kick it out, and he knows that number 9 can get to the cup and finish around the rim. It takes a little pressure off of Julius Randle, and I just got to give a huge shout-out to RJ Barrett, man. A lot of times this season there was great reason to be frustrated with his play, but we always say big-time players show up in big-time moments, and He's done that in the playoffs. He really, really has.
100%.
I'm proud of him, man. I'm proud of R.J. Barrett. I don't know if he's taken the leap, but this is the best basketball I've seen him play in a long time.
Definitely. And he's only 22. He's only going to keep on getting better.
Agreed. We'll break down the rest of this game some more coming up in a second. But if you love playing fantasy sports and you like winning money and you're actually able to take that money out of your account and go spend it on stuff, get hooked up with our proud sponsor of today's video. That is Underdog Fantasy. Go to chatsports.com/UnderdogKnicks and use the promo code ChatNYK, and they will give you a 100% deposit match of your initial deposit. So if you put $100 into your account, Underdog will match it, and you'll then have $200 into your account. They're also offering a site-wide special for tonight's games, and the one I selected was the lower on the Joel Embiid free throws at 9.5. And the thing is, with just 3 picks today, if you include Joel Embiid or any of the other awesome specials that they have, a 3-player lineup would result in a 10x of your play that you insert in tonight's game. 4-player lineup would be 15x, and a 5-player lineup would be 25x. They usually do 20 for 5, so they're definitely giving you a little bit more juice here. This is the lineup I'm rolling with. I'm expecting the Boston Celtics to take care of business tonight, and we're going to see a Game 7 in this series. I expect Brogdon and Marcus Smart to be active for the Boston Celtics, but you can fade my picks or you can roll with my picks. Just do it with our awesome sponsor, Underdog Fantasy. Go to chatsports.com/UnderdogKnicks and use the promo code ChatNYK.
Probably the first negative game. Or I guess last game wasn't too well for Josh Hart either. But in 9 minutes, 4 fouls, 1 flagrant. Honestly, probably the worst game I've seen him play as a New York Knick.
Yeah, I've really been, upset about how Josh Hart has played in these last 2 ball games. I just think he needs to take a step back and take a deep breath. Yeah. Like, it feels like he's sped up. It feels like he's overreacting to every single call the refs make. And look, the refs have been terrible in this series, and they've been terrible on both sides. I think that's fair to say. But Steves, I like what you said yesterday. If there's one guy I can bet on to bounce back, it's Josh Hart.
Yeah, I got faith in him. I mean, obviously, besides Jalen Brunson, number 2 for me is probably Josh Hart at this point. Even though he's played awful the last 2 games.
Look, the reason the Knicks are here is because of Josh Hart. After that trade, the Knicks were 14-6 with Josh Hart to close the regular season, and we're one of the best teams down that stretch. Look, if he can give you anything, because you need him. Like, you need his just kind of bulldog mentality of attacking the glass, never say no, never die, and just play hard. And you need that. And hopefully he can give you something here in Game 6 in Miami. It was a rough start in Game 5 for Julius Randle. Started out 1 for 7, but he made his 6 final shots, finished 7 of 13 from the field, even knocked in a couple of 3 balls, had those 2 step backs early, finished 4-7. My favorite play of the game, though, from Randle was like 15, 16, 17 seconds left. Somebody on the Knicks missed a free throw, and then Kyle Lowry got the defensive rebound. Then Julius Randle poked it out and finished at the rim and showed that extra effort that every New York Knicks fan had been clamoring for.
It seemed like after he got hit in the eye, it kind of woke him up a little bit, because I think after that he was 6 of 6 the rest of the way since he got kind of popped in the eye. But I thought the last 3 quarters, it was good Julius.
Yeah, I thought we got good Julius, especially in that third quarter. He kind of took over a little bit. 5 rebounds, 5 assists. I think he still had 4 turnovers. Him and R.J. Barrett still had 4 turnovers each. Josh Hart had 2. You just got to take better care of the ball. Win the turnover battle, win the rebound battle, and you got a great shot to beat anybody in the NBA. Jimmy Butler continues to just take what the Knicks will give them. Another 9-assist game for Butler, 19 points. Wasn't, the most aggressive or efficient, 41%. But the play I go back to, Seeps, is after Bam Adebayo set one of the most criminal moving screens of all time on Quentin Grimes, knocked him onto the deck. Grimes gets up and rips Jimmy Butler, gets the steal, dives on the floor. That was kind of a momentum shifter and ignited the Garden crowd. And it showed, in my opinion, hopefully it showed Tom Thibodeau, that we don't need to double and triple team Jimmy Butler like he's 2002 Shaquille O'Neal.
Yeah.
Just trust Grimes and maybe Hart still to do that job. I expect Jimmy, though, in Game 6 to come out and give you the best performance he's given you this series, though.
Yeah, I expect Jimmy. This might be a 40-piece Jimmy Butler game coming because he's going to go for it. And when we mentioned it yesterday, he does look a little banged up. Like, obviously, we know he's dealing with that ankle, but I think it may be a little more, impacting his game than maybe we think.
Yeah, like the blocks and the steals are still there for Jimmy Butler because he's got some of the most active hands in the NBA. But we've seen R.J. Barrett do it about 4, 5, 6 times now. Just put the ball on the deck and blow right by him. We've seen him when he tried to pick up Jalen Brunson in that third quarter. He just died on a couple of screens. Yeah. I don't know if it's ever the right idea to attack Jimmy Butler, but you can't just let him go out there and do nothing on the defensive end.
Test that ankle. Like, I'm all here for that theory. Like, I think that's a good game plan. But, Marsh, one thing I do want to talk about now, the Heat role players at home. I think that's going to be a huge impact on this Game 6.
I mean, look, Kevin Love went 0-7 from 3, and I would say 6 of those 7 looks were quality shots. And I don't think Kevin Love's going 0-7 from 3, but down in Miami. And look, you got to defend the three-point line better. The Heat started off really cold, but they really started to heat up in the second half. Strus ended up shooting 40% from downtown. Duncan Robinson ended up shooting 50% from downtown. I mean, but when you combine Duncan Robinson and Max Strus, they shot 9 of 20 from 3. Like, that's all Eric Spoelstra can ask of from those guys, and I expect nothing to really change once they get back home, except maybe those percentages get higher even a little bit. Kyle Lowry didn't have his best game, probably honestly his worst game of this series. He couldn't really buy a bucket. You got to wonder, though, Seeps, with guys like Lowry and Love, who are 2 veterans, do these games with just one day in between kind of change how they're feeling from game to game?
That's a good point because we saw kind of the best version of Love and Lowry after I think it was like a 4-day rest from
Game 3, yeah.
Yeah, up until Game 3. And you saw the best version of those two. And now you kind of get games, only get 1 day of rest in between, especially now travel being put in the mix for these guys. Like, yeah, I think that's a fair point.
Yeah. 2 people I want to close out the show talking about is, first, Mitchell Robinson. Eric Spoelstra tried to go to a hack-a-shack on Mitchell Robinson in that fourth quarter, and he hit some big-time free throws. I think he went 4 of 5 at one point down the stretch. He was asked by the media, what were your thoughts when you got fouled? And he said, I'm making these. And he did. Big ups to Mitchell Robinson. Seriously. I thought he had the best game of this series. I think he's banged up a little bit, but he pulled down 11 rebounds, had 2 assists, 8 points. I thought he played really well, and kind of those free throws were kind of the juice that crowd needed at that point.
The crowd was electric when he knocked those 2 down. I mean, that was sweet.
And then Quentin Grimes. Got to talk about Quentin Grimes. Just like Jalen Brunson, Grimes played all 48 minutes, and I think that could also be the same thing for Game 6. You know, maybe if Josh Hart doesn't pick up 3 fouls in the first 5 minutes of the ball game, Grimes doesn't play 48 minutes. But I thought it was pretty funny. It was actually Grimes. So usually at the post-game press conferences, they've been doing Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart together. Yesterday, it was Jalen Brunson and Quentin Grimes. And they asked Grimes, like, when do you realize that you're going to play 48 minutes? And he's like, well, when you close out the whole third quarter and you don't come out, you kind of realize I might not be coming out this ball game. And he did. He played all 48 minutes. He had 8 points in the first quarter. A couple of sloppy turnovers as well, but I thought his defense really shined through late in that ball game.
He was great against Jimmy, and those 8 points, I think those are pretty impactful because the Knicks scored 14 points in the first quarter. Take away Grimes, you're probably down 15.
And I also think that Quentin Grimes playing had a direct correlation to Jalen Brunson. How many times did we see Jalen Brunson drive to the left-hand side and then Quentin Grimes was in that left corner and then Strus couldn't help off, or whoever it was, Caleb Martin couldn't help off because they at least have to respect Quentin Grimes as that three-point shooter. I thought, and then 5 assists as well. Like, man, you get 5 assists from Quentin Grimes. That's special stuff. He played all 48 minutes, and I think Jimmy Butler, seeing Quentin Grimes and Jalen Brunson play 48 minutes, made him want to play 48 minutes because after the ball game, he spoke to the media and said pretty much, Eric Spoelstra, if I got to play 48 minutes, I'll play 48 minutes. And he said, if I play all 48 minutes, we're going to win. So, Jimmy Butler pretty much guaranteeing a win in Game 6 if he plays all 48 minutes. So I want to ask this question to close out today's show. Who wins Game 6? Is there going to be a Game 7 on Sunday at the Garden, or will the Knicks season come to an end in Miami? Who do you got in Game 6? Type MIA for the Heat or NYK for the Knicks. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed and turn on your notifications. We'll be live for the game on Friday on the channel. We'll see you then.